Hello, I am Todd. It's a beautiful summer day here in Saint Petersburg, Russia. So today I actually have decided to talk about a topic which I was avoiding for a while just because I wasn't quite certain how to address it, and I finally figured out maybe the best way. So there's a lot of men that are under the assumption that Russia is a very ideal location for dating and marriage and things like this. And I think this is a myth that many don't understand, that it's something that has been pushed by mainstream media. You look at like movies and things like this, and frankly, it's just not truthful. What happens is that you have many guys out there that are from countries like, say, the USA, UK, places like this. And so, yes, of course, the dating environment is better in comparison to those places. Now, with that being said, though, if we are simply looking at a benchmark of, say, what it may have been like in America back in the 1940s, for instance, is that there's absolutely no comparison. And one of the first things that one would encounter here is the continuity factor in this country is very bad. So I've talked about this before. If you're in a relationship with a girl here, expect that it might last 3, 4, 5 months, and the girl will initiate a breakup for any number of reasons. The girl could say that we're too different or we're not compatible, things like this. So you could think that you're doing fine as a guy. What happens though is that after some amount of time, you'll find that the relationship really begins to fall apart, and often there's really nothing you can do about it as a guy. You'll be with a girl, and after a handful of months, it will just come to an end. And this has been my experience here, unfortunately. It's one that is often depressing because you might think that you have a decent setup and that it really is a good feeling. And despite what many might say in the MGTOW community, I know there are guys who have gone monk, which I have complete respect for, but at the same time, there's also other guys that might be interested in pursuing dating yet, and they will find that Russia is not like, say, the Philippines. I know of some individuals, they'll go to the Philippines, and I think the girls are more interested in longer term relationships, marriages, things like this, which you just don't find here in Russia. So as I said, I've been living in St. Petersburg for some time now. It's one of these areas that I wanted to wait to talk about just to make sure that I was absolutely certain, because the last thing I wanted to do was mention a point that wasn't completely valid. At this point, I am certain about what I'm saying. All I can say is that it really is depressing. The kind of treachery that you'll experience is not all that dissimilar to what you'd find in the West, with a big exception. It's the fact that you're not paying the same kind of taxes. So if you're coming here because you don't want like a big government, you don't want high tax rates, things like this, completely understandable why you would choose to come to Russia. But if you're choosing to come here because you're, say, interested in dating, things like this, this is not a country I would recommend as a guy. Of course, you can find short-term relationships, but the majority of the cases, the girl will simply pull the plug. And I've known of several other guys in my circle, including my brother, a friend, etc., where similar things have happened. After having seen this pattern play out so many times, I can state that Russia, unfortunately, has done a very lousy job with its women. In other ways, they've done a very good job, but the women here are really a disappointment. I mean, I think there was a lot of emphasis put on other aspects of the society. The relationship dynamics, social dynamics, feminism was one of those things that was really neglected here. As a result, we have the society that we have. But my point in mentioning this is that I think that it's best for guys to understand these things. Again, you can come here if you have maybe other motives in mind. Maybe you want to start a business, you want to pursue some kind of understanding of the landscape, geography, maybe you want to pursue the language. So there are other reasons that you can come here. You don't simply need to come here for self-indulgent nihilism or for, say, marriage. But again, do not come with the mindset that you could find like a wife or something of this nature, because it is not likely. Short relationships, girls in them, and that's just what they want here. So it's not really anything, there is not really anything that we can do about it. But also keep in mind that this isn't just you. If you're in this situation, if you do find yourself in Russia, this has happened to many other guys, most guys I would assume, including myself. So it's just the norm, and I wish the government here would look more into the woman question, but apparently they either don't care or have too many other matters to concern themselves with. And again, if you have any further questions on this matter, please drop me a message. I'm more than happy to answer anything that you have, because at the end of the day, I want to create open dialogue. I want to be transparent about my situation, about what I've experienced and seen in the world. Of course, there always are anomalies to the rule, but generally I'm speaking on the average, is what happens in the majority of cases. We always have exceptions, but I always feel it's important to maintain some kind of integrity, because it's better to focus on the generalities, as this is the experience that most will encounter. There are some other possibilities. If you're a guy who's maybe interested in marriage and things of this nature, you could look more to the Philippines, countries like Southeast Asia. I think most who are sincerely MGTOW don't subscribe to the theory that one has to get married nowadays, because it is a raw deal in most cases. As a guy, you're not getting a good deal out of the situation, and you will find yourself on the hook for a significant amount of financial responsibilities should that marriage come to an end. So again, glad to be back on, and if you have any questions or feedback, please leave it below.